Alright guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So it's time to give you a follow-up review. This is about a little over a week with this phone, and it's absolutely great, man. I've given you a first impressions a week ago or so, a little over a week ago, and if you're following along with this pretty much series of the way I review phones, you saw the first impressions unboxing, kind of a detailed unboxing to show you all the settings and all that stuff, and play some games and things like that. Check the processor, the performance, it's all there. And then I gave you a 4K 60 video because this phone at its price point, and that sounds funny to some people, but it can record in 4K 60, and I think that's impressive. Lots of phones in this price range cannot do 60 frames per second and at 4K, and I think that's important to note. So I wanted to start the video off with photos, which is why you saw photos for the intro of this video, because I only gave you a video review of the cameras in the last video. So how's this phone been? Well, wow, it's almost incredible to believe that they would choose, and I'm starting off with a con for sure. It's almost incredible to believe that they would start off by locking this phone to two carriers, Yahoo Mobile and Visible. Now, there's nothing wrong with those carriers, but what happens when you lock phones to carriers, and a lot of companies do this to ensure that they're getting some sales. They need to maintain profitability, and so companies might not be too sure if they're going to do well, so they'll grab a company, and this is just my perspective on why. I'm not saying this is official fact, but if I were a company, I would do this. I would find a deal with somebody to guarantee I'm going to make some money, so they have to get all these units. You know, I would make some sort of contract to maintain profitability, and it's, to me, with ZTE, it's kind of always been a hit or a miss. I remember going to conferences, private conferences, and telling them, don't release this phone, or don't release it at this price point, or, you know, release this phone, and, you know, sometimes it works, but most of the time it does not. And I say that kind of locking it to those two carriers is also a great thing as far as the phone goes, because those two carriers get a fantastic phone, man. Unfortunately, you know, if you can't get this from them and you can't get it unlocked, you miss out. And this is an opportunity for them to take shots at OnePlus, at Google with the 485G. Oops, cancel. With the 485G, the 4A line. It just gives them a shot to take. They just missed the mark when it comes to their marketing, because over the years I've been reviewing ZTE phones for at least 5 to 10 years, and almost all of the devices I like. I have a lot of ZTE phones right now, and I just feel like marketing is the key. So with that being said, this phone is locked to a certain carrier, and you can only get it with that carrier, and that's a con. But the phone itself is fire, man. This is so much phone for $360. It's incredible. Performance and everything is on point. Hopefully some of you guys have the ability to buy this on Visible or Yahoo Mobile or whatever, you know, wherever it's offered. And if you choose to get it unlocked, you know, hey, I'm sure you can. But this is locked to Visible. And if you stay with Visible long enough, I believe you can request an unlock code or something like that. But you know, the fact of the matter is, this is a fantastic phone. Performance, software, stock, no problems whatsoever. I have not used this phone for Wi-Fi since I've did the initial setup. I didn't. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna keep it on 5G, and that's what I've been doing. So all my battery usage, everything has been coming from 5G. Now, speaking of 5G, lately I've noticed that it's been dropping to 4G LTE, and I don't know if I can kind of get that in focus there. You can see there it's been dropping to 4G LTE for some reason, but the speeds to me are the same. You know, inside the house they're not that great for me. In certain parts of my house they're not that great, but they're consistent. And when I go out into the world, I mean, it's not about the speeds for me, but it's about the consistent connection, and I have not lost a connection. So I've combated this by switching on airplane mode every now and then I'll switch it off and my 5G comes back. And this just started to happen actually. Like, and you see I have a much stronger signal for 5G, but this just started to happen probably in the last 24 to 48 hours. I noticed it. I was like, oh, I'm on LTE instead of 5G. But not that that matters, but the phone is still operating the same. That's just something I wanted to point out. Especially in here, it'll just switch over to 4G LTE for some reason, but the consistency of the device stays the same. So how do you do a weak follow-up? Well, you just talk about the device, and that's pretty much all I have for you. I have had no problems with this device except for those two cons that I pointed out about it being locked and the LTE switching. But again, that's not really a con, I guess, switching from LTE to 5G, because that's just a matter of the network. Visible is not at the top of Verizon's list. It's at the bottom of the list probably. So you get prioritized based on what you're paying for, and they're gonna give their postpaid customers all the 5G. They're gonna do that. They're gonna put them first, which is fair, which was what all these companies do. They put their Cricket is under AT&T, Metro by T-Mobile is under T-Mobile. You get the idea. So the phone itself, great. Fingerprint readers works really fast. I like it. The screen is nice. This wallpaper, a lot of you guys have asked for this wallpaper. This wallpaper is actually a stock wallpaper. It's one of the wallpapers that's in the phone, because this phone shares the likes of the ZTE Axon 20 5G. So if you look online, someone probably will post this and say this is the ZTE Axon 20's wallpaper, but it's actually just in the stock wallpapers for the device. And you can see there's actually different versions of this wallpaper right here. So there they are. So again, I really enjoyed this device so far. I've had no problems. As you can see, I'm back on LTE. I don't know when that switched, but you see it's back on 4G LTE. But again, no problems with the device. So I don't have any issues with the device. The performance is good. The cameras are stellar. I've got some cases that you'll be seeing coming up in review, and I think you'll probably like the cases, because there's not, with phones like this, again, the companies get into these limited runs and they get into this limited access for everything, and a company has to be willing to make a case for a device knowing that they're going to make a profit for it. So I'm going to tell you about this device as much as I can. You leave any comments down below. This is a short discussion and week update follow-up on this thing for you to let you know no problems, just a few minor dislikes that I have after long usage on it. So battery life is fantastic. It should last you probably easily a week, if that, probably, depending on who you are. Standby time is great. You do have ultra power saving mode, and I think you should really take advantage of that if you're going to be, especially because right now it's saying that I've got 28 hours left with 60%, and that's ridiculous. But this hasn't gotten too much screen on time in this cycle that I recharged it, because I use this phone for social media and streaming and content like that, because Verizon's network is so good. I never have any issues with it, and I'm comparing that to AT&T's network, because I think T-Mobile's network is better than AT&T's network. But my primary service is on AT&T now, and T-Mobile is my secondary, and then I have obviously this visible line here. So this service is better than AT&T by a long shot when it comes to having a constant connection, and that's what I've been using this for. So anytime I'm linking up using some music or something like that, or just doing anything I know it's going to be a lot of it, I've been going to this device. And so I'm talking about when I'm away from the house. So if I'm out and about, and I know I better grab my Blade X1 5G, because the Verizon's network and it's just ridiculously solid. So for certain things, and this, the speeds aren't as fast. If you think about speeds, the download speeds aren't as fast as T-Mobile, but in fact, in some areas they are, but overall they're not. But I mean, 20 to 50 is great. You know what I mean? Like, you only need about 8 or so to be comfortable with streaming. But I like this phone. I love the battery. I love the performance. I love everything about it, man. It's actually been a go-to. It's nice and compact. It's got a 6.5-inch display, obviously, but I like that I have the loudspeaker. It doesn't have stereo speakers, but it's a loudspeaker for what it is. And this is just a great phone, but it catches an L because it's locked, and I talked about it at the beginning of the video. So that's the only problem I have with it, really. But it's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you have this device, comment down below and let me know what you think about it. Are you having any issues with it? And if so, I'll see if I'm having the same issue. But so far, there's no heating. There's no problems with the phone at all. Performance is good. Everything is good on this phone. For those people that always ask after I shoot a video, are you having this problem? No, probably not having that problem because I didn't talk about it. So if I'm having a problem, I will definitely talk about it. But if you're having an issue or you just have some likes or some things you want to share, leave them down below. And I highly recommend you grab this phone on Visible for sure, because again, I don't know about Yahoo Mobile, but for Visible's network is solid, and the price of the monthly bill, you just can't beat it. It's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.